Welcome. My name is Josh Almeida, and I am very excited to bring to you our latest installment of Focus on Learning, brought to you by New Bedford Public Schools and New Bedford Cable Network. While the best way to find out what your child could be doing at home is to work directly with your child's teacher in school, we know these videos will help everyone keep learning active at home.
Welcome back. This is Marcia Guy, Mrs. Guy, from Ashley Elementary School, 4th grade teacher. And today we're going to be talking about, we're going to enhance what you saw in an earlier video about an area of an irregular shape. And now we're going to enhance it, bring it up to 4th and 5th grade level, where you're seeing the calculations you need to do to create the area of a complex shape. Alrighty? So I want to start with a hello to all my Ashley kiddos. And let's start with a review of what I'm hoping you saw earlier. Alrighty? So we're going to go to the Elmo and we're going to talk about just a pretty much straightforward, odd-shaped area review. Now remember that area is always about rectangles. Alrighty? And area is the covering of a space. And this is a particular space I've decided to use to review the area of an odd shape. And how we would do this, there are two different ways. We could, option one, we could turn this odd shape into two different rectangles. And I would break it right here so that I'd have this height times that width. And then I would find that calculation, and then I would find the area of this rectangle, and then I would add the two together. All right, so let's do that one first. First, we have to figure out how tall is this rectangle. Well, the length of the longest shape is 24 feet, and we have the length of part of the shape. Let me zoom in a little bit more. And we have the length of the part of this length. So it's 14 feet. So if I were to take 14 feet away from the 24 of the whole length, I could figure out that 24 minus 14 is 10, that the length of this space is 10 feet. Now at that point, I can go hog wild because I now can do my calculations. Here is the area of shape 1. All right, the smaller rectangle is 6 feet times 10 feet plus, and this is the smaller rectangle, plus the area of the larger rectangle, which is the width is 16 feet, multiplied by the height of just this rectangle, 14 feet. Now, once I do the multiplication of these two, I can add them together. All right, let me get in there so you can see a little bit better. So let's do 6 feet times 10 feet. Well, I know that 6 times 10 is 60, so that is 60 feet squared plus, 16 times 14, I'm going to go to the side. I'm going to work that out over here in the workspace. 16 times 14. I'm going to use the standard algorithm to do this. 4 times 6, and remember, the standard algorithm is the way your mums and dads, your memes and pepes, your foster parents, whomever it is that cares for you, this is how they were taught how to do it, the standard algorithm. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 down, regroup the 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus the 2 is 6. And now we're done with that 4. Now we're going to go into the tens column to do multiplying, which means I need to fill that ones place with a 0. Remember, we're not multiplying by 1 really, we're multiplying by 10 because this one is in the tens place. So now that 1, so if I were to do without that 0, watch what happens. 10 times 6 is 60. So there is the 0 right there. All right, but I'm going to pretend that it's just a 1, and that's why I filled that 0 into the ones place. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. I will take that, add these two together. 4, 6 plus 6 is 2, the regroup, and 2. So 224 feet squared. I'm going to go back up here and fill that in. 224 feet squared, or squared feet. It doesn't matter how you say it. Alrighty? This is how you can write it if you were saying 60 feet squared. If you were to say it the squared first, you'd just say 60 square feet. So now let's add those two together. 224 plus 60, well, that gets me 284 feet squared. And that would be the calculation of this. That's option 1. Now option 2, to do the same calculation, and you can see how it better end up being 284 feet squared, because if it isn't, I've made a mistake, and I hate making mistakes. So let's take a look at option 2, where you would pretend that this, wrong way, that this shape, we're going to add the missing part, all right? We're going to add this space to it so that we have a big rectangle, and then we're going to subtract that little empty rectangle. And that is 24 times 16. Again, that's the height of the whole rectangle and the width of the whole rectangle. 24 times 16. And then we're going to subtract from it, though, the area that really isn't there. And we already figured out that it was 10 feet high from earlier. And this 10 feet comes from the whole length of 16 feet, subtracting the partial length of 6 feet. 16 feet minus 6 is, of course, 10 feet. So now we've got that minus 10 times 10, which is, again, the area of the missing part. Now, let's go. I'm going to pull this off to the side so that we can do this. And I'm going to use the area model for this one. All right, for 24 times 16. Area model says break up into extended form, 20 plus 4. And on the side, we'll have 10 plus 6. Whoops, there we go. I make my box. And then I draw lines wherever there's a plus sign, from the plus sign to the opposite side, from the plus sign to the opposite side. I now have 4 boxes that I'm going to do. I'm going to pretend it's just a multiplication chart now. Alrighty? So now, 20 times 10, I've got 1, 2 zeros, and then 2 times 1 is 2. I've got this one, which is 20 times 6. Again, left times up. Left times up. I've got 1 0 there. I want to take care of that right away. And then I'm just going to do 2 times 6, which is 12. This box, and again, the thing I like the most about the area model is it does not matter which box you do. There's no order that you have to keep it. Alrighty? Now, I'm going to do this one. So left 6 times up 4. That's 24. And then this box goes left 10 times up 4. 10 times 4 is 40. All right, so now I have that, and let's zoom out a little bit so you can see. Now I have to add each of the numbers in the boxes. 240, 120, and 24. And remember, lovies, don't forget to line up your ones place columns, your tens place columns, and your hundreds place columns. So 4 here, 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 2 8. And no regroup, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So this is the area of the large rectangle, 384 square feet. So let's go up to where we have the original calculation, put that number in there, 384, excuse me, square feet minus, and we can do this in our heads, 10 times 10 is 100, minus 100 square feet. And 384 minus 100, well, I only have to really do the hundreds place, and that will equal 284 square feet, or feet squared, it does not matter. And yes, I love it. didn't matter which option we used. Look at that, sweeties. It did not matter which option we used. Option 1 got us 284 feet by adding up the areas of the two individual rectangles. And option 2 also got us 284 feet. And that was creating a larger whole rectangle and then subtracting the empty space from the whole. So, gosh, that was a really long review, or maybe it wasn't so long, it just felt long for me, of standard odd-shaped area. All right, so now we're going to go, and this is probably, I would see this at a 3rd grade level, maybe beginning of 4th grade. Now we're going to up the ante, my loves. We're going to add the complexity of a larger, a different space. You have to worry about the different parts in this space. And I drew a diagram that reminds me a lot of Buttonwood Park in New Bedford. And if you take a look at this diagram, we can see that this, let's pretend that this is Buttonwood Park. Alrighty, and this is the walking path around, and of course it isn't rectangular, but we're just gonna, be kind to the mathematicians in the room. And one in the middle, and then here's the area, and the zoo is in this space, and the kids' playground is here, maybe the tennis courts, and the grassy area where you can play football or soccer. And then the green space is the pond for the swans and ducks, and then the wooded space. So let's pretend that we need to calculate the area for each of these different spaces. And this is the only information they actually need to give to you. All walking paths are 5 meters wide. So everywhere that you see a walking path, you know that that is 5 meters wide. Also, the information that you have is that the width of the green space is 40 meters. The width is 40 meters. Now, they did not give us the length, which means they're saying we should be able to calculate that. And the width of the red space is 60 meters. So I want to add that as a label because I just don't want to take a chance of being wrong with my calculations. I know when I refer back, I will see which rectangle I'm working with. Alrighty, so they did not give us the length, and I wonder, they're saying to us then that we should be able to calculate it. Well, let's find out. If the whole rectangle is 65 meters high, and the walking path, every walking path is 5 meters wide, so 65 meters minus 5 here is 60, and minus the 5 on the other side is 55. So to me, the length of the green space then is 55 meters. Okay, I can do that. 55 meters. And if the length of the green is 55, then the length of the red has to be the same because they are lined up parallel to each other. They have similar lengths. So we'll do 55 here. And then I think we are ready to go for math. So again, all walking paths are 5 meters wide. The width of the green space is 40 meters wide. The width of the red space is 60 meters wide. And here come the questions. And this actually reminds me a little bit of an MCAS question where they have 2 parts that are pretty straightforward, and then they have that third part that's kind of complicated. And I know that most open response questions on MCAS are 4 points, so that first part of the question would get 1 point, the second part would get another point, but that third part is actually a 2-point question. So of course it should be more complicated. You're getting more credit for getting it right. So now let's take a look. What is the area of the park's green space? So they want to find the area of the green space. Well, the green space is 40 meters by 55, yes? All right, so let's do the work down here for number 1. 40 meters times 55 meters equals green. Alrighty, so now we can zoom in so you can see that a little bit easier. So I just need to multiply 55 by 40, 55 times, I'm going to drag and drop. That 0 can go right out into the alley and drop down, and now I don't have to worry about it. 4 times 5 is 20. 0 down, 2 gets regrouped. And 4 times 5 is 20 again, plus that 2 is 22. 2 down, 2 regroup, but I don't have anything to regroup it, so I can put it right down. So the green space then equals 2,200 square meters. All right, so that was really fast to be able to get that first part done. That's kind of, I get a little nervous when it comes that easily, so I'm going to double check my work and make sure that I actually did the calculations right and I've got the right measures. All right, so let's go back. That green space said 40 meters wide, 55 meters long, and I did 40 meters times 55. Alrighty, and I trust my math. So, okay, so that's question number 1. Question number 2 is, again, another straightforward one. They're looking for the area of the park's red space. And again, 60 meters wide, 55 meters high. So let's do 60 by 55. Whoops, let me get into the space where you can actually see it. And then we'll do, I'm going to drag that lonely 0 out again into the alley and drop it right down so I don't have to worry about it. And then I can do 6 times 5 is 30, 0 down, 3 up. 6 times 5 is 30 again, plus the 3, 33. And that's square meters. And that then is, this is the red space, which is 3,300 square meters. So now I want to use my logic. Does that make sense? Does it make sense that my red area has a greater, my red space has a greater area than my green? Well, they're both 55 high, but red is greater than green. So red, the area for the red should be greater, and it is. So that's good calculation. And again, another thing you want to make sure, when your boss is asking you to show your work to prove that what you did was accurate, it's just like your teacher asking you to show your work on a test or a homework assignment. And what I say in my classroom is, hey, no work, no credit, kid. No work, no credit. You got to show me how smart you are. And when I say that to my kids, I say, shove it right in my face how smart you are. Prove to me how smart you are. And then I can't say, did they guess? Did they copy? They did it all on their own, and their own brain is right there on the piece of paper. Alrighty? So that was parts 1 and questions 1 and 2. And now it says, what is the area of the park's walking paths? Ew. Ew, ew, ew. So, ew. They want us to know what is the area of this space here, this space here, this space here, and this space here. Yikes. Now I get why they're giving it 2 extra points. Why you get 2 points for it. Well, because we got smarty pantses in the room, and I know you're a smarty pants by watching the show and listening, we're going to do the calculation for that right here. So we've got the space, and again, I'm going to do the walking path. Now, just as we did with the earlier odd shape, I can do it 2 ways. I can break it into a bunch of rectangles so that I could do this, turn this into a rectangle, turn this into a rectangle, and then turn this into a rectangle. And then I have rectangle 1 here, which is 40 meters by 5. 40 meters, yeah, 40 meters long by 5. And that's the same as this one too. 40 meters times 5. And I'm really writing kind of tiny, so let me zoom in and we're just going to break up the parts. This part, this little rectangle would be 60 times 5. And again, the length plus the width. Multiplied by, the width. And then up here also would be 60 times 5. Then I have to do the longer rectangles, and that we already know is, let's see, 65, because that's the whole length, times 5. This one is still 65. Oh, this one's 65 times 5 also. And then the last part of the path is 65 times 5. That's all. All right. Again, though, just as we did with a standard, a traditional odd-shaped area, we can turn each of them into rectangles and then add all the areas up for that. Now, where did here we go. So, to find the area of the walking path, option 1 is 5, because every walking path is 5 meters wide, and then I would just add together the 65, which is here, another 65 here, another 65 here, and that's the 1, 2, 3 65s. Then I would add the 40 and 40, which is the 40 here and the 40 here. And then last but not least, the width of 60 here plus the 60 here. And again, I can put that all in parentheses because they are all going to be multiplied by 5 meters wide. So let's do that one. Option 1. And I will let you know, this is not the option I would choose. I'm going to show you option 2, which is so much more efficient. And of course, my rule is do the least amount of work to get the job done. You're being efficient, you're being smart with your time. That's option 2, but I want you to know that there's always 2 different ways to do it. And in my classroom, and I hope you have it the same in your classroom, the rule is it doesn't matter how you do it, it just matters that you do it. So you choose your choice of paths that you want to do. All right, so option 1, we've got 65, 65, 65, 2 40s, let's put that together and make it an 80, and 2 60s, put those together and make a 120. 5, 10, 15, 5 down, regroup 1, 6, 12, 13, 6, 12, 18, 19, plus the 8 is 27, plus the 2, 29. I want to double check that doing my slash adding. 7, 13, 9, 17, 19, and 2 slashes. Good. Regroup the 2, and now I have 395. Wow, so all of the lengths added together is 395 meters. And now we're going to multiply that 395 by 5. So 395 times 5. And again, this is the length of all of those rectangles plus the width of every one of those rectangles. So let's see, 5 times 5, 25. Regroup the 2. We'll do the standard algorithm, make you grown-ups a little bit more comfortable. 5 times 9 is 45, plus this 2 is 47. 7 down, 4 regrouped. And 5 times 3 is 15, plus the 4 is 19. Wow. So we've got 1,975 square meters is the walking path. And that again is option 1. I want to show you, though, option 2, which in my mind, again, I think is the most efficient way. Option 2 is taking this diagram and doing the whole rectangle. 115 times 65, and let's put that in there. 115 times 65, and that's the complete, the whole area of the whole park. And now we're going to subtract what we already know, the area of the green and the area of the red. So I want to subtract both of those areas, and I already got that from my earlier work here. All right, so let's subtract then 2,200 plus the 3,300 of, again, remember, the 2,200 is of the green space, and the 3,300 is the red. I'm going to add those two together and then subtract them from the area of the whole space. Alrighty, so 115 times 65. 115 times 65. 115 times 65. All right, my lovies, we're going to do standard algorithm. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 down, 2 regrouped. 5 times 1, 5 plus the 2 is 7. No regrouping, and 5 times 1 is 5. That takes care of this 5. Now the 6 is in the tens place, so I'm automatically going to fill in that ones place with a 0. 6 times 5 is 30. 0 down, 3 gets regrouped. 6 times 1 is 6, plus the 3 is 9. And there's nothing to regroup. 6 times 1 is 6. Now we're going to add these two together. 5, 7, 14, 4 with a regroup, and 7. This is the area of the whole park. Now, I'm going to go back to our original equation here and put the 7,475 square meters in where we'd done the calculation. So 7,475 square meters, subtracting, well, 22 and 33 is 55, 5,500 square meters. Okay, now I just have to subtract 7,475 minus 5,500. Wouldn't it be great if this worked out perfectly? 7, 4 I can't do. I'm going to regroup that 7 to a 6 and give 10 to the 4, making it 14. 14 minus 5 is 9, and 6 minus 5 is 1. 1,975 square meters. And yeah, it's the exact same calculation as when we got option 1. And here is option 2, the exact same number. Yes, life is good. So that, my loves, is how you calculate the area of a complex space, going from your standard unusual shape area to the more complicated area where I'm telling you, you're going to get questions like this in 4th, maybe even 5th and 6th grade, depending upon the year. All right, my loves? And I've got nothing else to share with you for area of a complex space, so I'm going to sign off with my regular. Be safe, be good, be happy. Bye-bye.